What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Summer Career Mode. This is episode number 11. We're starting today's episode with Profundi coming to me and saying, hey boss, I know people have been talking about the position you're playing me in. I just want to say I'm ready to do whatever it is for the team to help us be successful. That includes playing as a forward if that's part of your plan. And of course, in the last episode, Simone came in from Udinese for $2.25 million, not getting used to Udinese. Only one appearance all season long for the teenage wonder kid. It would have been cruel to keep him there. He needed a rescuing, so of course we bought him in for $2.25 million. He made his debut in the Cup against Atalanta away in Bergamo in the last 16, and of course he bagged the game winner in extra time as we made it through to the quarterfinals, where of course we will take on Jose Mourinho's AS Roma in Como. So heading into today's first game here, welcoming Spezia, obviously newly promoted to the Serie A alongside us. They of course went via the playoffs last season. Heading into the game, well, you know, since this series began, I've scored some really nice goals, and the first two in this game, absolutely beautiful. I must say that the first one, Alexandro tapping in from close range with a really nice build-up, but the second one in particular, Patrick Cutrone, what a piece of dribbling there, whipping the ball into the middle, and then the offload by VR, that back heel, absolutely glorious. Now watch this on the replay if you didn't see it initially first time, and just how good his technique is. To be able to first time flick the ball back whilst the ball's dropping out of the sky and wait it and pass it perfectly into the path of a man behind you. That takes some serious vision and technique, man. That was glorious. So yeah, 2-0 at this point, and then 58 minutes in as Ibrahim Bamba says, you know what, sod centre half, I'm going down the right hand side, whips one into the middle, and once again it's, well, to be fair, this one maybe not quite as nice as the first two, but even so, bit of a collision in the middle between Saponara and the Spezia keeper, and at the back post, Alexandro says, I will take that one and bag my brace with a comfortable tap in. So 3-0 Como at this point, and I have to say the assists in this game were so nice. The first one through Saponara, that little bit of skill, and then the 180 swivel pass into Alexandro. The second one, of course, the nicest from Villa, but that third one, great little teasing ball from Bamba. At this point we were toying with Spezia, and they kind of lost their discipline because of that. Flew in from behind there by Gerrard, definite red card. Spezia down to 10 men, and then with 13 minutes to go. Well, sometimes, you know, when you're playing with your food, it will get nicked off your plate. Let's just say that. I don't know what I was doing there. I really don't. You know, when like you watch footage back, for anyone out there that like creates content or you know just likes to record their content. You know, when you watch footage back and you're like, did I really do that? Like, what was I doing? I do not know. I think at this point I was just kind of being a little bit cocky, and yeah, I got punished for it. Like I said, you play with your food, sometimes you'll get nicked off your plate. Silly from Ibrahim Bamba, but really silly from me. So yeah, Spezia got a goal back, but thankfully we managed to wrap up the 3 points late on and extend our cushion to 3 with a fourth goal. Lucas Colla makes it 4-1, but once again, for the fourth goal, the assist, glorious. Ball dinked into the middle by Alexandro, and Cutrone flicks the ball on with the overhead kick, and at the far post our Swiss Academy graduate was waiting to tap in from close range. The assists in that game, absolutely glorious. Yeah, 4-1 win against Spezia, and no doubt about it. Now I think our position in the Serie A is basically all but confirmed now, I would say, as we approach the final business end of the season. So deadline day will come round, and on the back of signing Simone Profundi from Udinese, we had no money to work with whatsoever. The only question is, will we keep our squad together and keep the band together? The answer was yes. We had 2 bids for 2 of our squad players, Alberto Sherry and also Odenfall as well. I was tempted to accept the Odenfall deal with Alberto Sherry, even though he's 27 years old now, not going to get any better. He has scored a couple of goals for me this season, including at the Allianz against Juventus in Turin, but I feel as though because of the lack of depth we've got, just in case, worst comes to worst, we do get a really bit of bad luck and an injury crisis here or there, it's best just to keep the band together. There's no point in making the sales now. There wasn't enough time on deadline day to go scouting, go shopping, and pick up a replacement, so we might as well just keep them here. Even though we could have raised a bit of money for Odenford in particular, as Celtic put in a bid of over £2 million. No point. It's deadline day. We can't reinvest the cash. I haven't really got anyone on my targets right now that could come in and add some quality to this squad, I might as well just keep the band together between now and the end of the season and see out what has been a really good debut year in the Serie A in the save thus far. We'll keep them for now, but they probably will both go in the summer transfer window. Even so, following game on the back of the big win against Spezia, we had another youth squad monthly report and also academy update as well. Casadei, that young centre-half, looks so solid, doesn't he? Really good. 18 years old now, surely going to get a pro deal. It's just so annoying, like all the good youth prospects we seem to pick up are centre-halves. We've got an abundance of centre-halves. I don't need any more. Why can't I find like a new left winger or something? But even so, yeah, we do the scouting update and academy update there. And for the following game away against Cagliari, said before, so many amazing, picturesque places in Italy. I've got to visit one day, man. Seriously, some great teams for Italian RTGs. Cagliari are another absolutely amazing one from the glorious island of Sardinia, taking on Cagliari. We lost 2-0. First goal, couldn't do much about it. Second one, simple corner, heading it in the near post. Cagliari, the 2-0 win, and our unbeaten run comes to an end there. So, yeah, 2-0 win for Cagliari, but for the following game, I was really looking forward to this one. Yep, coming back to Como and welcoming Jose Mourinho's AS Roma, heading into the game. Coppa Italia, quarter-final, furthest we've gone and 90 minutes away from a place in the final four of the Italian Cup. Well, we were the massive underdogs. We're the weakest side remaining in the competition, and that's why it wasn't a surprise. Unfortunately, we were brushed aside by 2-0. Yep, Roma opened the scoring in the first half, and then later on, Paulo Dybala, yes, the ex-Juve and Palermo man, makes it 2, and Roma would run out. Very comfortable winners in the end by 2-0. So that our cup run comes to an end, courtesy of Jose Mourinho's Roma, going for yet another major honour in his illustrious, glittering trophy haul of a career. 2-0 Roma with the win, and they will take it. So yeah, disappointing to sort of like go out with a measly whimper of a 2-0 loss, but ultimately we were massive underdogs, so I wasn't really too concerned about it. At the end of the day, getting to the quarterfinals is further than I thought we'd get. I thought we'd get knocked out by Atalanta in the previous round of last 16. Made it through, really courtesy of a silly red card, if you remember, through Jeremy Boga. But even so, knocked out of the cup. Been a great run, don't get me wrong. But I feel as though, ever since that game there, I headed into the following game. We were taking on Lazio, and as we were taking on the lads from Rome here, of course, the team we got our first points against in the Serie A this season on match day 3. Heading into the game, this was one of those matches where I was like, well, now what do we do? Because, okay, we're not going to get to the final four of the cup, let alone a major domestic cup final for the first time in the save. Now we're welcoming Lazio, and heading into the game, we had an amazing start, and we were 2-0 up very early on. Fantastic start, and the second goal, really nice build-up as well, as we led by 2. We were, at this point, kind of in control and sitting comfortable, and then Lazio said, yeah, sod this, we're not going to lose or win for here in the game, we are firm favourites. Kramaric gets Lazio back in the game, and then I don't know, I kind of just sort of collapsed at this point, and I don't know whether it was more of a mental thing than a technical thing, but I suspect it was, because I just kind of thought, well, what have we got to play for? So Kramaric basically single-handedly got Lazio back on level terms from 2-0 down, and we'd surrendered our 2-0 lead in the first half, and in the second half, it was only really one way this game was going to go. I mean, the momentum had just completely swung in Lazio's favour. I'd stopped playing really good football. Felipe Anderson made it 3-2. Lazio now had the lead for the first time, coming from 2-0 down to lead by 3-2. And then later on, with 40 minutes on the clock, Diogo Dalot goes down the right-hand side. Gets a little bit lucky with the pass to find Ugarte. But in the middle, no one is anywhere near Kramaric. As we basically just say, take your hat-trick, mate. Get your 3 points and go back to Rome. It's done. 4-2 the final score, 3 defeats in a row, back-to-back in the Serie A, and also a knockout in the cup quarters as well. And I remember after the game thinking, I don't really know what to do now, because it's almost as though we've sort of just ended the season, even though there's still so many games to go. Because let's be honest here, from this point, we're not going to go down. It would take an absolutely miraculous comeback from the lads in the bottom 3, Empoli, Cremonese, and also Lecce as well, but also the teams that are below us to leapfrog us too. we're in 13th place. Like, we're so far clear of the bottom three. And if we were to go down, it would require the other 6 teams below us in the table to all go on an amazing runs, or at least, I should say, at least 4 to 5 of those teams to go on amazing runs, and for us to lose practically every single game for us to go down at this point. Now, getting into a European place is basically the same distance between the bottom 3 now as well. So we're in this kind of weird phase where we're mid-table. Realistically, the very best we could do is possibly break into the top 10, and the very worst we could do realistically is drop to like 16th place, which would still mean we're safe. And I feel as though every single season there's always like 1 or 2 teams that end up ending a season this way, where it's like they can't really do anything noteworthy, but they're also probably not going to go down. And in the end, it's almost as if their players have kind of given up and say, let's just get this season over with and worry about next season. A team, of course, we can all remember that happened to last year, where it was surprising, but it was Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea, after they sacked Thomas Tuchel, just never really, sort of got it sorted from there. Hired Graham Potter for the long-term vision. In the end, that long-term vision was cut very short in the end. Frank Lampard came back in for the finals. Final 10 games, I think it was. But Chelsea weren't going to go down. Like, they weren't going to go down, obviously. And they also weren't going to get into a European race in the final few games. So their season kind of ended with like 12 games to go. And we're in the exact same position right now. So for the following game, taking on Atalanta, and we got thrashed 4-0. There's 12 games to go. We're 13 clear of Cremonese, our following opponents in 18th place. We could still get caught, don't get me wrong, but the likelihood is very, very slim. Those bottom 3 teams and the teams above are going to need to win the majority of their remaining fixtures, and will need to lose them all. But also, as you'll see the league table in a bit more depth in a moment, we're not going to catch the European team, so we're basically on holiday at this point. So it's a really weird position to be in. And like I said, every single season, there's always like 1 or 2 teams in the top flight that are in that kind of position. Last year, Chelsea kind of were that team, really. And I suppose for a few games as well, you could possibly look at teams like Bournemouth too. But yeah, we're in that really weird position right now where it's like, well, we don't really have anything to play for. We're kind of just waiting for the season to come to its end. So over the following game, I thought, well, let's just make sure at the very, very least, mathematically, we're going to be safe. And Simone Profundi said, Gaffer, trust me, I'll get the job done. Put me in the starting 11. You saw what I did in that cup game against Atalanta. I'll bag us the 3 points here and confirm we'll stay in the Serie A for next season. And he did as well. First goal, nice little build up and finish. But the second goal, the technique there to flick the ball onto himself, go through one-on-one, and then from 18 yards find the top corner. That was glorious. So a 2-0 win at home to Cremonese, one of our rivals, and that basically does it now. We go 15 points clear of one of the sides in the relegation zone. And that's basically done. Simon Profundi gets his first goals. But as you can see here, we're now 14 clear of Empoli in 18th place with 11 games to go. Yes, mathematically it's not confirmed, but you look at the other end, 7th place Udinese, well, we're 14 points behind them as well. So there's 11 games to go, and there's the exact same distance between 7th place and 18th place. 7th would give us Europa Conference League. 18th would mean we go back down to the Serie B. There's the exact same gap. We're not going to get to 7th the same way we're not going to go all the way down to 18th. So with 11 games to go, like I said, we're feeling like Chelsea right now. We've basically gone on holiday. It's over. Simone Profundi has now confirmed it with a brace there. We ain't going down, but we're also not going to catch those lads in the top 7 either. So we're done. Like, the season is basically done now. We can't finish, realistically in a European place the same way we're not going to finish in the bottom 3. Because don't forget, even if those bottom 3 teams, Empoli, Cremonese and Lecce as well, even if hypothetically all 3 of those teams went on amazing winning runs in the final 11, there's still several teams below us but above those bottom 3 that would also need to lose as well, which is just not going to happen. So it's basically now we're on the beach. Do you know what I mean? We're ready for our holiday now. It's done. 1-2-3 Cancun. It's basically done. So following game, we're away against Bologna, and I thought, well, like with Chelsea last season, we saw what happened to them. They only won like one of their last 10 games. I think that was against Bournemouth, wasn't it, under Frank Lampard? So I thought, let's at least play for a bit of pride, shall we? We just beat Cremonese. Let's win the following game. We're away against Bologna, and oh my goodness, 3-2 for the Wonder Kids, Simone Profundi. And that's what I'm saying to my boys right now. Listen, the season might basically be done for the club. We're not going to go down. We're probably not going to make Europe, but play for pride and play for positions from next season onwards. And Simone Profundi definitely is. 3 goals in 2. And that, in my opinion, is the goal of the season. 24 yards from goal. Levers one with that left foot. And it clips the underside of the crossbar, Tony Yeboah style, before netting into the back of the net. What a goal. Absolute beauty. And we're 2-0 up. But Bologna said to the Wonder Kid, well, anything you can do, we can do better. Lewis Ferguson gets Bologna back in the game and makes it 2-0 with an absolute screamer himself from range. It's 2-1. I must say, whoever had the tickets in the stand behind the goal, well, they were treated to some absolute beauties in this game, because 3 of the goals were scored at this end, and they were all glorious. Yeah, Barrow makes it 2-2, and in the end, Bologna battled back from 2-0 down to claim a point. But like I said, it doesn't really mean too much for us. Yes, our poor run of form continues, just a 1 win in, I think, our last 6 games now. But even so, for the following game, match day 29, Lecce away from home, still in the bottom 3 themselves here. We know we're not going down, and we also know we're not going to make Europe either. So from here on out, it's just all about playing for pride, playing for points, and possibly, just possibly, making the top 10 in our debut year in the Serie A. Following game, Lecce away, aiming to bounce back here and get a big 3 points, and we will do so as well. Patrick Cutrone, with the only goal of the game, scores the opener 10 minutes after the restart as we win by a goal to 0. But as you'll see the league table as we head into the final 9 games of the season, well, again, we're not going to catch Roma, who are now in 7th place, as Napoli now take the lead at the top of the Serie A, with Juve in 2nd. But as we jump to 13th place in the table, we might get the top 10, but we're also 18 clear of Empoli with 9 games to go. The Serie A season might not be done, but it kind of is for us. We're already thinking about our trip to Cancun. We're basically on holiday. But that will end today's episode of the Summer Karima, guys. So big fan you watched it, enjoyed it. If you had, then please do drop a like. So you'll have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the season finale, where I'll try and get my form back and try and get into the top 10 to wrap up what will be a successful first year in the Serie A very soon.